Are you liking the university?
Please say yes.
Okay. So what are your expectations from this event today? Anyone has come up with some objective, or you have been told to come here? Anyone wants to volunteer?
Please feel free to share.
Are you guys getting bored here?
We are just students, so.
Okay, I'm Abhishek Bansal. He's my friend. He's
I'm
also
Abhishek Bansal.
He's also Abhishek Bansal. He's there from MBA 1. And guys, we are having fun here.
Guys, why so stressed early in the morning, man? Come on. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah.
That's better, at least better than 2 minutes before you guys were. So, like, we have a workshop. It'll be live telecast on CNBC for 1 hour. We'll have speakers who will be interacting with you all. So, if you guys have any questions, any queries, anything, please feel yourself free to ask and interrupt in between. Right?
Okay, anyone wants to come up here and speak about their university experience or wants to sing a song, anything?
Song?
Sweetie, she's our classmate, she wants to do something.
Even if you don't want to come here but want to share some experience or something like that, you can just pass on the mic.
Yeah. Anyone?
Anyone?
Okay, can we choose random people? It feels like we are bad host. Please speak up.
Yeah, let's host.
Chalo, we hope that you guys ask good questions in the workshop and it should be helpful to you all.
Ajay Mahajan is still on his way, but I think we can get it started even at this stage. So should whoever is here, we'll start on the things. Now the idea, see, some of the things that we have is we are going live on CNBC hours on 12. By 12 to 1 there is a program which will be happening. The broad structure I think Shruti has explained. What we will have is that we have a small, the idea is to actually learn from entrepreneurs because I've been working in this field of entrepreneurship for 3 years now. And what I realized that the kind of skills that you require to become an entrepreneur is not available in any textbook. And so therefore whenever students come back and said that, sir, whatever you are teaching in entrepreneurship does not make any sense to me, I think in some way they should justify. And therein lies this entire concept as to what can be done to give people a skill which people aspire for. Entrepreneurship is likely to become the most buzzword, the biggest focus of the next government, of this government, and people want to develop entrepreneurship. The problem is how. And this thing is, and surely, like we were talking to the skills ministry, this skill is not available in any textbook because the way, what we have taught in a textbook is more like a idea. Idea is the key. Like in India, same ideas, and there are so many takers. What it boils down to getting efficiency on the ground, and that is something which is not taught. So therefore, like this concept as to what can we do to change the situation. So I am thankful to all the SRM students who are here. I hope that if you are really interested in entrepreneuring, we will be able to lend you a perspective. If later, I'll leave my contact. If later you want to touch base with me anytime, or you have an idea which you want to further, please feel free to contact. At least I can tie you up or to the mentors and if possible the venture funds. So what we have is a very different mix of people who will be coming and talking. So we begin with a person called Ajay Mahajan. If you have you seen Northland Rubbers anywhere? It's around your place actually. Northland Rubbers, okay. They are the largest sourcer of conveyor belts in India, right? And they happen to operate out of Sonipat. So that's why I thought that I'll get them in. Whatever industrial conveyor belts are sourced to any major producer in India is sourced to them, right? So when I discussed the concept with Ajay Mahajan, he said, I will be more than willing to share my experience. So the idea is to make this session a bit more interactive. Please feel free to ask. Most of the people, see, we have the IM and the business school grads towards the end, right? Prior to that, it's more like we would like to structure a discussion, because these guys are not the people who will come and make a presentation and say that this is how the world looks, right? Their perspective on life would be very different, and that's a kind of a reaction which I'll try to stimulate. Now, after this session, after Vijay Mahajan, as we are end up because he's on the way, but there will Vikram Panwar is here. Vikram, can you just wave? Okay. Vikram is an alumnus from IIM Ahmedabad. He runs a outing. He has a outing adventure, or that's the domain, right? Adventure, right? And he's into a lot of social activities. So therefore, one thing which I wanted, he was looking for something wherein he wanted to stimulate a discussion. So I said that what better than doing a workshop wherein maybe you can act as a consultant to him, and he will present your case, and you can figure out what do you want to suggest to him, right? And he has agreed that if there is merit in it, he will take it forward, right? So that we'll do from level 15 onwards, right? Thereafter, we will move more towards an interactive session. We try to keep it slow, we try to keep it steady, so please feel free to ask. These are our alumni from JGBS who have become entrepreneurs, and therefore they will be more than willing to answer your questions. The final session is a bit more formal, because they are the kind of the typical MBA entrepreneurs that you get. So they will come, say that there is something called a business plan and this is something that you need to do. Now please realize, whenever I teach entrepreneurship, I teach them a simple lesson. That is, there are two types of business plan. One which gives you money, the other which wins your votes, right? And the two are very different. And the structuring of the two are very different, right? Thereafter, we will be joined by at least 10 local industrialists over dinner. Please realize that these are very shy people. They do not come to public forums. They will not stand here and deliver a dialogue. So they are here for you. So if you want, please feel to interact with them. Whatever, I'll introduce you to them. And whatever queries that you have, please take that in an informal setting, because they are not willing to engage in a dialogue like this, right? So as we wait for Ajay Mahajan, is there any things that you want, or any application or anything specific that you want to sort out or that you seek from this interaction? Maybe I can give you or whatever is it. Maybe we can try to figure out a way of giving you that input which is possibly needed. Anything? Okay, fair enough. As people come in, this is Satish Goenka. We'll meet him a bit later in the day. These are alumnus from the second batch, 2012, 11, 13th class. He runs a rice mill in Jharkhand. We'll have an interaction with him. So anything in specific that you want? Okay. young entrepreneur, what kind of lessons can you learn from your experience, and what kind of suggestions that you may give to people who are here?
First of all, my apologies for coming late. I'm about 25 minutes late. It was just because of the huge traffic jam in Delhi, which I didn't anticipate early in the morning. And thanks, Mr. Shorett, Dr. Shorett, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity on behalf of Northland to share my experience. And I hope that my experience, what I joined this company in 1985, and I've been working since then for 30 years. We'll surely be able to help you out if I've done some good things. If I say some bad things, I will don't follow that. My first experience in my life was when I joined the company in the year on 15th May 1985. Our company was in heavy debt and we got a lot of money to our suppliers. There was an asset of 10 lakhs and a liability of 2 crores. But the asset of the company was that the company got a very good reputation with suppliers and with the customers. Our customers supported us with orders. Our suppliers supported us with credit, even though we were not delaying, even though we were delaying the deliveries. So the first lesson my father told that whenever you get a call from your supplier regarding payments, do not avoid it. Be honest to yourself. At that time, there were no cell phones, there were only landline phones. So he said that if you are taking, money will come and go. Financial loss is no loss. Credibility loss is total loss. So the first lesson I would repeat again was that if a supplier would call me for a payment at 8:30, I would always attend his call. And I will committed that I would not be able to pay him. Before he would give a call to me at 8:30, I would call him at 8:20 and apologize. Sir, I'm sorry, I will not be able to organize the payment. Please bear with me. So it's a very small thing. It's a very personalized thing. But the lesson you learn is that you are committed to your supplier. You are true to yourself. You are true to your supplier, and you are true to your organization. By this, what happens? The supplier, the organization, and you yourself are committed, and they have a sense of belief in you that this person is committed and is not avoiding one cause. In today's world, people give a very fancy cause, okay, BRB. You know, in a WhatsApp, we write be right back, BRB. And we don't get back to each other. We don't fulfill our commitments. So the first lesson I would like you to do as younger entrepreneurs to learn is that be committed to yourself first, then to your organization, your family, your suppliers, your customers. And if you are honest and to these 5 people, then nobody can defeat you. The second lesson which I learned in my life was why we were in debt. Because we switched over, we came from Punjab to Delhi. In 1967, this establishment was set up war with Pakistan in 65. My father shifted from Punjab to Delhi. This unit was this unit started production in the year 1967. So we had a very good brand image of our product. The customers, they wanted our brand. But in 82, the government imposed excise duty and sales tax. Excise duty in those days was 36.25% and sales tax was 4%. And if I would buy, I would pay 4% sales tax, and if I would sell to my customer, he would pay me 4% sales tax, and then my customer, if he would sell in the local market, he would pay 12.5% tax. So our business came down because everybody said, "You don't number in Maldives." So as a young person, there's a lot of temptation for cash. You are young. If you see cash, you will say, "Let me buy i6. Let me buy a Samsung latest phone, mini pad." So the temptation is there. When I had those temptations. My father told me, one supplier came once, he bought 10 lakh rupees, I still remember, in cash. He said, कि अभी 2 नंबर में माल दे दो. My dad said, अगर मैं चोरी करूँगा तो ये डाका डालेगा. So I want to set an example for him that even if you don't have money, don't get tempted by some short-term gains. As a result, what happens? We fought through circumstances. We ensured that we make an item in which the customer doesn't mind paying custom duty, doesn't mind paying excise duty, doesn't mind paying sales tax, so that our billing is genuine and our income is genuine. So we tapped the government sector. We struggled very hard for 6 years, and the tables turned around. In 1990, I was a very rich man. So this is the second lesson, that never get tempted by any attractions that come to you which is wrong, because your mind knows and you yourself know what is right and what is wrong. And if your heart take over the mind, don't allow it to happen. The third thing is that if you are honest and if you are sincere, the support from all corners will come to you. If you are going to run an industry tomorrow, then you are going to be either an employee or an employer. If you are going to join a law institute, then you will have some boss. Because straight away, I will not come to you that, look, Neha, take up my case and fight in the Supreme Court. So you will be working under somebody. So once you do that, until unless you prove your worth by your hard work, by hard work means by complete dedication and involvement, you will not be recognized. You have to give full dedication and full hard work to any organization you serve, and serve it with honesty. In today's world, we talk about corruption. The corruption is not in the government sector; it is worse in the private sector. And I have been fighting corruption since 1985. Today we talk about Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. Yes, he's a good man and he's a strong follower because he believes in anti-corruption. And at Northland, you can check with any government officers. Nobody dare ask for a single penny. Reason being, I'm not proud to say it. Reason being, if I go wrong somewhere, I will ask him that give me show cause notice. Tell me my faults. I will improve. You want some bribe? Okay. I will give you 1,000, 2,000 rupees. That's not an issue. Not by way of cash, just by way of a dinner, by way of a gift. But first of all, correct me. Tell me where I'm going wrong. And once you have this courage and conviction to do it, nobody will be able to touch it. So these things are very, very important to inculcate in yourself right from day one, so that you are an honest and a clear person. Another thing, from my experience I have learned, that you should be afraid of only 3 things in life. Remember, just mark it and write it. 3 things in life. Number 1, parents. Number 2, law. Number 3, God. And never be afraid of any individual. Nobody can touch you. Because if you are right, if you are correct, if you are honest, if you are sincere, the other person will not have any guts to even harm you at any stage. So this is the experiences which I learned at the age of 21 years. And I followed those principles. It is very tough to fight in a country like India. It is very easy to say, but I really enjoy doing it. Mr. Solanki is my good friend and he is my lawyer too. I always tell him that this guy is trapping me with money. He is wanting some bribes. He will say, go and together we will fight a lawsuit against him. Because I am a law graduate too. So I know the law, I know how to handle things, and I follow the law. Last thing I would like to say is, always put your endeavor to save the environment. If you come to my company, and if you see anything which is detrimental to the environment, I never allow it to happen. Even if I don't have money, I will ensure that I will seek time from the authorities, all the experts from the environment, that how can contribute towards saving the environment. Because environment is living is everything. The fresh air you breathe. The swine flu which is there in Delhi is the worst. So Delhi is one of the most polluted, the worst city to live in. And unfortunately I am living there. I would like to live in my factory where the air is clean. So always help in building up the environment. This is all young kids. Wish you all the success and all the best. Remember, be honest, be true, be confident, and you will succeed in life. Thanks.
Just wanted to ask, because I belong to service industry, is it good to enter into manufacturing industry right now? Because there's a lot of hope from BJP government that they will be promoting manufacturing, but it is not still yet seen. And you belong to that industry, I just wanted to have the insight of manufacturing industry, how fruitful it is and how we can enter into it.
See, this entirely depends on your. So you have to handle 8 to 40 people. Okay. Manufacturing is a really exciting job. So Naveen Jindal, the promoter of this university, is an industrialist, and the phenomenal growth as he has done at Raigad, at Barbil, at Angul, and his brother, Mr. Sajid Jindal, at JSW Gulari, at JSW Ratnagiri, at JSW Dolby, at many ports. So the call is entirely yours. Don't get attracted by what BJP is saying. Don't get attracted by what Congress is saying. Don't get attracted by what I am saying. It is your call. You have to analyze. Anything you do with hard work and with strong conviction, you will succeed. You will struggle. Any job you do, you will struggle. But any job is good in which you are happy. Because until unless that job is giving you a self-satisfaction, you will not get it. So call is yours. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I want to know which field is better, like manufacturing units or retailing units or service units?
I think I already answered this question.
No, I'm talking about the service and retailing unit. Like manufacturing unit allow including manpower, but service got different tactics. So which is actually better to get involved in?
Both are better. Both are better. Because you do servicing, then you have to start begging at each and every corner. The day you start manufacturing, you initially beg and then you command. In manufacturing, there are a lot of problems which you face on a daily basis. In services, they are very easy. Once you are established, and things become very easy. And you command. So it is very difficult to say which sector is better. But of course, as an industrialist, I would say industry is better. This is my personal, I am biased on this. And servicing has got its own drawbacks. And manufacturing also has its own drawbacks. So it is purely your call in which you have to take.
My friend asked, like before entering any business, is it so important to look forward to the policies government is offering at a particular time? Like you were telling us about your experience in the past, about the excise duty and everything. So is it always beneficial and always positive to look forward to what government in what sectors they are providing policies, favorable policies?
Yeah, it's always good because until you know the policies and you know the plans of the government. Because government plans, once they are drafted, then you have to see the person behind the show whether he's going to implement it or not. And until unless you know the policy, you know the prospects of that, the policy, how committed the government there is to implement it. I'll cite you one example. There's a very big steel making company by the name of POSCO in South Korea. The government of Odisha has given them clearance to promote the steel industry there. It is a very good policy approved by the government of India also. They have been struggling for the last 8 years, but they have not been able to even put a brick on the land which they have owned. So, having said that, I would still say that study the policy first. I just ask you one question: do you want to start your own business or your?
Yes, sir.
So, if you want to start your own business, then do you have somebody who's close to you, who is into business, into services? So it is all.
My family.
Yeah, your family is there. Your family is your best guide. Your family always make one guru in life. Don't make two gurus. Once you, before making a guru, just choose him then follow him and do what he says. And then do your homework. Go slowly, don't run fast. And coming to a specific question about policies, yes, be careful. The government also at times backs out of the policy. The government announced a policy of free income tax in northeastern states and the same package from in Jammu and Kashmir, in which there will be no excise duty, no sales tax. After 8 years, the package was withdrawn. Because when they saw that the industries are coming, the government withdrew it. The central government just by notification withdrew it. So the government is very dicey. The government means business. So you have to check yourself very thoroughly first. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Self-experience about government sector is less corrupted than private sector.
Come again?
You were saying that government is less corrupted than private sector. Can you please share your self-experience about it?
Yeah. The government sector, the corruption level is much less than the private sector. Because in government sector, if you put a complaint against that officer, he can be sacked, he can be put behind bars if proved guilty. But in private sector, because the corporate culture has grown up in this country in the last few years. So an individual, if he's caught bribing, at the most he will be sacked. The moment he's sacked, he's a free bird, he can go to some other company and join. So when that company will see that this guy is expert, because if you are having good skills of entrepreneurship and you prove your work to a company, then the competitors of that company are watching you. So they want you to join your company. So that is the reason. The fear of punishment in private sector is less than in the government. This is my analysis.
No, if there's somebody else.
Sir, a very good morning. I'm Anindya Roy and I look forward to you for some advice. So I'm not an entrepreneur in the true sense. I'm a pass out of this college and I'm working with one of the consulting firms and in the space of e-governance. And when we talk about e-governance, the client is the government over there. And I've been asked to lead this initiative in one of the states, and of course when I'm from the consulting industry, I have a lot of confidence. It's been now over 8 months since I'm to that state, trying to do business, trying to get ourselves some projects so that, and my performance will be rated by the amount of business I generate from that state. It is as simple as that. And of course, I also talk to my competitors and everyone. Everyone over there is ready to relax the rules and pass on some benefit to the government employees so that they get the business over there. I am very enthusiastic. I also want to grow. I want to get the business, and that is the door that opens a door to a lot of opportunities. But I don't want to do that because of my own personal things that I get. What is your advice? Because this thing is not going to end, or it should end. I am hopeful it should end with the new Kejriwal government, and as you said, people coming into picture. But I don't really see it ending very soon. And by that time, the bus is already gone. Because e-governance, after a certain point of time, they will be talking about new initiatives and everything. I want to do my product is of world-class quality, but still, that door is always blocked because of that barrier. What's your advice?
See, I would say I face the same challenges that I get attraction of many times of 20 crore rupees or 50 crore rupees or 100 crore rupees. And the guy asked me that it's a very good opportunity, it's a new entry. It's a world-class product that I offer. But if he wants something, I let it go. Because if you are trapped once, then you are trapped forever. So my advice would be, don't get into temptation. Fight for it. Today or tomorrow you will succeed. Have patience. Regarding this corruption going away, the corruption from this world will not go away anywhere. The Vice President of USA has got 20 houses in America. Okay. So this is a deep, because we all are human beings. And if you say that anybody is not corrupt, any government is not corrupt, the most corrupt government is of Russia. So the corruption is there, but you should know how to deal with it. As a corruption, it shouldn't be a matter of right of a person that you pay me and do it. You can oblige him in many other different ways. There are many ways of handling it. But if somebody is done, give an opportunity, there will be 100 more opportunities. It's always said, एक दर बंद 100 दर खुलता है. Okay, so this is my philosophy. You guys, you may or may not tend to agree with me, but this is my philosophy.
There are two broad views. One is that planning is everything, so plan a venture, and this is your grand vision, and that is how you do it. The second is forget the plan, forget the vision, get tactical, right? Whatever comes your way, keep exploring, and once you have gone to a particular level, then start planning, right? Now, which to you, right, makes at the ground level, right? What should an entrepreneur actually try to do? Like start off with a grand vision and figure out a way of getting that vision clarified, because somewhere compromises with that vision will come, right? And therefore comes the alternate view that forget the vision, let's start being practical, right? If a manufacturing unit, let's build a good manufacturing unit. Then let us figure out what to do. What would be your take on that?
See, first of all, the vision is very important. And until unless you have a goal to achieve, then without having that vision and that goal to achieve, you will not reach anywhere. A tactical approach, I would not suggest, it's not a good approach. Because a tactical approach is a very short-term approach. Until unless you want to, you think big, and until unless you want that, you should be achieving at least X turnover. Because everything in business or service either amounts to turnover, ultimately amounts to net profits, ultimately amounts to carry home, and in service, the package. So, to achieve that, if as an entrepreneur, the vision and the goal, they are two very, very important things. And then in between comes the complete study and the roadmap that we take to achieve that goal by having that vision. So, tactical approach I would not say.
So, associated question with this. If the vision is right and there is a compromise to be made, I think that is what the larger group is referring to. See, if I am moving with a broader vision, there is a possibility of a compromise without which I am unable to move forward. Then would that compromise be justified?
This is a challenge that you have to face. If you start compromising from day one, you will be compromising throughout your life. So, inculcate right from day one, not to compromise. Fight, you will succeed. Try it. Nothing comes forward in front of your confidence, your strong conviction, and your strong willpower to do it. The only thing is, the only person you have to control on earth is yourself, which is the most difficult thing to do. To prove yourself and to control yourself. You can control me as a professor, as a teacher, but I cannot control myself as an individual.
And so the final query from my side. What do you feel is the role of the formal education? Like, because we have been discussing the fact that we have become very employment focused, not employability focused, right? And therein I see that the larger challenge to creating the next level entrepreneurs is that the basic mindset is towards getting an employment. People are so, see, if you go by the aggregate levels, TCS at my time, when I was in IIT in 2002, they offered 15,000 rupees as an entry. Today they have reduced it to 9,000 rupees for the same proposition after, 10 years, right? So, and yet, that is a more preferred job option than venture, right? Now the question is it a problem of mindset? Is it a problem that people do not see a scope or they feel constrained in some form? That, and therefore, people want that. And often the answer to not getting a job is to seek higher education. And therefore comes a larger problem. Like, is education really important in the field of entrepreneurship? And I'm raising it in your context. Because you are a lawyer by profession, right? By qualification. But an entrepreneur and a businessman by profession, right? Where does that sit in?
See, first of all, education is very, very important in your Because this is one thing which you will get in a limited number of years. First nursery, then schooling, high schooling, then college, and then university, and then post-graduation. And then these are the basic things which you can complete in 22, 24, 25 years. Then comes other courses which you can do even later. So, education is very important, and institutions, all education institutions, they play a very, very important role by shaping us in our making our personalities, in our knowledge, and giving us the ability to stand up and face the world. Now, coming back to the specific question that about TCS, my nephew is a graduate from Imperial College, UK, and he taught the management course from there. And he was offered a job of, I think, about 101.5 crores. You can divide by how many GBP it would be. But he left the job. And when he came back to India, I asked him, why have you come back? He said, there I am doing a service, and I don't want to be working under anybody. I want to be a boss of my own, and I want to make this company a world-class company. So it is all individual choice, what they want to do. I advise him, go back to UK, because your prospects, they will be much better. Your income will be much better. He says, I don't care about the income. The income will follow, but I have to make Norton as a world-class company. So it is all a personal choice. Number two, because the competition is there, the expectations of all the professional companies are growing. There's a campus recruitment plan takes place when you pass out from any university. My second nephew who has passed out from Harvard, and he was offered, because he taught engineering, he's a chemical engineer, because he taught that course. He left that course. He left that job, and joined Norton. So it's all an individual choice. But once you are there, once your qualification is done, your intellect level is very important. Because when you go for interview, the person who is interviewing you will look into your eyes. Mark my words. The moment he looks into your eyes, you should have the guts to look into his eyes as long as he can look. The moment you do that, you can achieve any job you want, anywhere you want. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Okay.
His ambition is to have at least 20 patents in India. His ambition is to do something which nobody has done in India, and he's already done 2 things. And he is only 28. What he does is, goes to Wikipedia, goes to net, read books. I named him as a junior Albert Einstein. So start reading books, your knowledge base will increase. And once your knowledge base increases, and if you are committed to do something, to have the vision, that will follow. In my time, I'm sorry to use the word, we should play gulli danda. Have you ever played? Yeah. Have you ever played kanchas? Yes. I have played. Okay, and that is our sport. But today's sport is what? Facebook and chatting on WhatsApp. Even a child do. So even my daughter is much better than me. If she has to write a message, and it's a long email that I write, I'll give my phone to her. Say, you write the mail. She will write it within 30 seconds. She will write half page. So the speed of youngsters is much better than our speed. So to answer your question very specifically, I repeat once again: start reading books. Everybody answer. Okay.